Hello everyone, welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. Welcome to today's reading. So where we left off, there was a lot of energy about your person coming in toward you, and some of you I know have already started to hear from them, but your person coming toward you but doing so in kind of an unhealed way. They're working through some things, and some of it feels a little bit awkward or doesn't quite approach you the right way. So we're going to look into kind of how this is continuing. We're going to stay with the single card deck instead of doing the branching it out today. And doing a pick a pile. I thought about doing a pick a pile, but I think we're going to stick together again today. So, of course, as always, it's a general reading. I have to say, it's a general reading for this collective, so it's not going to resonate with everybody. Shouldn't resonate with everybody, but if it does resonate with you, then maybe take a look at some of the other videos that are out here, because they're all very much connected. And if you haven't subscribed, please think about doing so. Okay, so we're going to start out by looking at kind of that energetic backdrop. We're going to look at the energetic backdrop, then we're going to see where things are going now, and then we're going to see what you need to be focused on. So that's kind of how this will be. Very similar to what we usually do, but it just kind of feels, I wanted to be very intentional about it because we're not asking a specific question. We're just looking for that energy. So in that energetic backdrop, there's a sense of kind of things might be crazy, things might be going in some way other than intended, but they seem to be falling into place. There is a sense of a well-oiled machine, something that you're worried about like going well goes well in this energy, and it's the backdrop, so it's something that's going to be impacting more than just you. It should be impacting both of you, and then wouldn't be surprised, sometimes it's going to be a wider set than just this collective, because this is energetic backdrop, and so sometimes it's associated with a planetary alignment or the moon or something, and if that's super obvious, I'll call it out. Although you guys, if you've been here for a while, you'll notice that I mostly don't. Okay, so for the Four of Wands, the Four of Wands in the reverse, this is a feeling of something becoming less stable. So something is going maybe better than expected. Could be your conversation. Remember, there's an important conversation in here that we're hoping goes well. There's a great possibility for misunderstanding with that. Some of you are having those conversations. So we know that you guys, like I was saying, some of you are starting to hear from your person. Oh, fell face down. And so it's like it's a matter of how to proceed from there. In some cases, they've come and gone, and it's been a lot like what we've talked about, where it's kind of a quick in and out sort of conversation, not a lengthy topic or anything. There's a Two of Pentacles here, and this is why you see them kind of pull back out. So their energy comes in and then they pull it back out. It's because they need to maintain this this balance. They've got this with the Four of Wands in the reverse, and some sort of stability or balance going away, and it could just be the way they think about something. So if it's they lose trust in somebody, or this could be associated with a third party. So that's true for potentially either of you. And you remember, third party doesn't have to be another romantic interest. It could be something that's happening at work, could be something in your social situation, but third party energy is something that is acting upon you. So oftentimes it's, if you've got spouses or significant others, and those will be significant in that. But for the most part, it could be pretty much anything, but it feels like something is shifting there. We've been seeing that, and we just had a reading about that not long ago. So what's happening, though, it seems like not everything is shifting at the same time. There's some sense of responsibility. The Hierophant is all about responsibility, the way that it's coming out here, and it's really interesting. I've been watching the Hierophant come out as all these vastly, wildly different things here over the past, I don't know, few weeks especially. It's always been a fairly variable card for me, the way that I read it. I let whatever comes in, and that's true with any cards, but some of them, it seems like they're fairly consistent. The Wheel of Fortune, for example, this one feels pretty consistent. Whereas this is a change that's happening in their life. It's not all happening at the same rate. So like I was saying, not everything flows smoothly. Luckily, you've got this things falling into place sort of vibe over here, because there's a sense of having to find comfort in in discomfort, comfort in an uncomfortable place. We see that constantly in this. There's a lot of discomfort about not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing when it's going to happen. We see indications that this person is energetically moving towards you, and they often do, and then they will move, and then they will lose their nerve and kind of run away. So we've got that Eight of Cups. Here's what happens, I think, even more often. Running away is a more dramatic response than what they are typically having. This is much more of a meander, and it's much more of a meandering because they haven't figured something out of a lack of having figured something out. There's a definite feeling of meandering and not quite being consistent in the application of their energy. So it's kind of like somebody who puts their foot on the gas and then takes it off and then puts it on and then takes it off. You have the Three of Cups. So there is some sense of needing to try and keep the harmony with this third party situation that someone has going on. Most of them, it's your person. Some of you're going to have a third party situation as well, where there is some need to keep civility, keep a decent balance. Maybe it's your job and you need to not be out of work just yet. Maybe it's a long-term relationship that is past its prime and falling apart, but you need it to be civilized as it falls apart, and you don't necessarily have control over that may be you, it could be them. I feel like in a lot of cases there's something with them where whatever the situation is, it is stale and past its prime, but they are needing to support it and kind of nurse it along for as long as possible. Meanwhile, there's a lot of nostalgia about, and this is energy about you guys. So this is a lot of nostalgia that's happening in spite of what's happening with this third party and the clear change that's happening there, but the instability that's being caused. And again, that instability could just be a matter of they can never look at this, their coworker or their spouse or their child or whomever, whoever the third party energy is, they will never be able to look at that person the same way. That's what I get out of this Four of Wands more than anything else. Things may change in the material, but this is the part where it really starts to have feeling to it, which is, as we know, not necessarily super common, but I think we're catching your person in a relatively feeling wide open sort of place. So we've got the Tower and we've got the Six of Cups. With the Six of Cups, that's that nostalgia, that's that energy that I was saying is around you coming kind of, there's a clash of energies, and really it's about, them having to make some decisions about how they want to use their energy. So this Tower becomes a matter of how do you not burn out? Kind of. They've got to figure out how best to use their energy, and right now there are multiple draws on their energy. So they are inclined to think about you. They are inclined to think about this third party situation. And again, remember, this could also be energy that impacts you to a certain degree. If not because you are going through something similar, then because you are just catching their energy, because the type of bond that you have means that sometimes that's going to happen. You're going to have a little bit of bleed through, especially when you get something like anxiety or sadness or fear, or you'll get some of those particularly low, what you would hear referred to as low frequency, low vibration sort of emotions and behaviors. Those have a tendency to resonate a little bit differently for you. The Hanged Man in the reverse, there's a perspective here that has not yet been acquired, hasn't yet been figured out. I was hoping it was about that Ten of Cups right there, but that didn't feel like it was part of it. We'll see if it still wants to come out. The Knight of Wands, Knight of Wands in the reverse is exactly what we have been seeing. So Knight of Wands in the reverse, but what's special about it is, okay, we want both of these and not that. So, all right, we have the Queen of Cups in the upright and the King of Cups in the reverse. And so this is a lot of love, and it's balanced feminine energy. It's not, It's not the damaged feminine energy that we sometimes see with it in the reverse, or sometimes we even feel that around the edges when it's in the upright. This is a healthy, well-paced sort of feminine energy that is very positive. It's balanced. There's a lot of love here, and it's a confident sort of love. With the King of Cups in the reverse, though, there's this feeling of, but I can't let certain things show. There's a lot of a feeling of not being able to let things show, and it's because of this, and it's causing this. So it's because of I wouldn't say a missed perspective. I would say this is a perspective that is as yet undeveloped. So it's still something that I would expect to see come out for them. I just understand that it kind of hasn't yet. This is something that's a place of development. You may have some places of development also that will help you to resolve something very similar to this, but I feel like we're talking about your person here, even if it's something that you have in common. But like I said, it's caused by this missing or lack of perspective that hasn't grown in yet, and it's causing this. That's Knight of Wands in the reverse. That's that quick in and out. Now this doesn't necessarily have the vibe of like a player, as you might say. It's more of a in and out for these reasons: the lack of wanting to be seen a certain way, the need to address a situation that's happening over here with a third party energy, and that feeling of kind of just meandering toward what they want rather than going headlong toward it. I think this is somebody whose pace is a little bit different. Their pace is a little bit different. Let's get into what's happening. So that's kind of your energetic backdrop. We got pretty heavily into that. We'll get a little bit. That's what we want in the background as we're reading the rest of this. So to know these are the tendencies in the energy will be helpful as we look to see, well, what's happening next, because we've been seeing people contacting each other. We've been seeing, and it's mostly them. I haven't heard a bunch of you. I get the confessions when you guys like contact your person and you're like, oh, I did it. I reached out. Oh, I did it. And, whether you feel bad about it or you feel like, no, it's okay, I can handle what comes back, whatever. It's just this is not the note that I've been getting. The note that I've mostly been getting has been about how your person has been reaching out. Oh, and the note that I've really been getting in the last few days has been about Vimeo. So, as you guys know, I had to start a new series here in January because I was having some trouble with the old one and not being able to do. This is a lot of shuffling. Not being able to upload the readings and everything. So anyway, I've got it started. I've got it back. I've got a new series that's up and everything, and that's where. All right, Ace of Pentacles. That's where I've been putting the Vimeo extendeds, but several of you have come back in the last couple days to say that it's not loading or that there's something that's otherwise not working about it. So just know I am compiling some, of your notes and getting the details and saying to Vimeo, hey, this is what's happening. But just realize that I can't do anything about that. You have to contact them directly. If they have your money and you haven't gotten the video, you got to get a hold of them to get that and to get that resolved, because they won't let me do that. So I just didn't even mean to get into all that, but I just wanted to let you know, please do contact them so that they know that there's something going on. But yes, if you're having some trouble over the last couple days, I've gotten a lot of notes about that. So we've got the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. We've got the Nine of Cups. This is the energy of figuring out what it is that you want, but not going that direction, which absolutely fits with so much of what we're seeing over here. Even with that, Wheel of Fortune that's in the reverse. Okay, we want this top one, and I think I dropped one. I dropped some. Okay. They kind of went everywhere, but they were face down, so they're not supposed to be used in the reading. And now I think we're done getting cards for this portion. All right, so like I said, they're going to figure out what it is that makes them happy, but they're not going to go for it. And as we know over here, they have a place where they need to be keeping the peace. There is a need for some change. There is definitely a lack of perspective. Just like we see this Hanged Man over here, the Hanged One over here means the same thing. And yet, the change is happening, the change that we feel over here, despite the fact that we see, and it's implied by this tower, but we see also that with the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse, there is, that's not necessarily that change is not happening. It is that they are being held in a place to have to recognize some things. It's an uncomfortable place maybe, but it is an important place for them to be so that they, I guess, can get the finer points. And again, this is partially you. So if you feel like you're being kind of dragged, even though you're seeing things changing in your life regularly, if you're feeling like you're kind of being dragged back to the same thing, pay attention to what that thing is, because it's trying to give you a message. So if you're noticing the same kinds of experiences, patterns, thoughts, you now are armed with the type of healing and behavior that's going to allow you to kind of pull that apart and see what it is that you're missing. So missing perspectives for you and your person, this is common between you, are way more attainable at this point. However, you have to reach out and do it. Like, you have to seek out the healing, I guess. You have to be the one to seek out the healing. Now, I do get the sense from you that you're more inclined toward that. And that's why we do that third part of the reading, because there is something about this that is like, it's like knowing that you want to go towards something, but every time you try to do it, it is so difficult that you just stop. But you want to, so you try again, and then it's so difficult that you just stop. It's this sort of, that's the part that makes you stop. Whatever this is the part that makes you stop. It's pain, or it's fear, or it's something sticky like that. But that's what makes you stop. And this is what happens with them. Also, there's a lot of anxiety. There may be a lot of a lack of sleep for both of you right now for different things. Might have a lot going on in your schedule. There's definitely a lot of that. But what I'm seeing here is, okay, so a couple of things. Oh, I wish this Page of Wands was in there, because that's not part of it. We'll see if it wants to come back up. And I say that because sometimes I feel like it's not supposed to be... it's not supposed to be in the reading, and then I shuffle and it's like you missed. It is supposed to be. But what I'm seeing is that this is a tendency to get in their own way. This feels like them. It's a tendency to get in their own way, and it impedes their happiness. So they're figuring out what their happiness is. This matches, but it's an unfortunate cycle. So they're figuring out what their happiness is, but they aren't going toward it because of something that is causing them to kind of shrink backward, which is fear, it's pain, it's some combination of fear or pain. Like I said, it's this sticky kind of feeling. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of getting in their own way, stopping their own happiness. They are getting in the way of their own happiness. They're the reason that they're not going forward. But it's not that simple. Like, it has to do with this pain that kind of, it's the places where they're getting triggered. So they've got, it's like their ability to give and receive, and we've seen this so many times. Their ability to give and receive love has been incredibly small. Like, they haven't had great capacity for giving and receiving love, but they've become aware of this. We've often seen like the Judgment card come out talking about, and what it's been saying is there's kind of this internal reconciliation going on, where they're seeing that they're doing this. And I feel that a little bit over here, the way that this is coming out with the Hermit. The Hermit involves going into deep thought about it. So it means that they're kind of watching themselves do this self-destructive behavior over here that's leading to them getting in the way of their happiness. And it's because with their recent healing, they've been healed a little bit, but not completely, in the areas of, around the big three: the fear of rejection, abandonment, betrayal. The Five of Pentacles is talking about how some of that healing has taken place, which is why they're able to have a better perspective on this. But we see here with the Hanged Man and the Hanged One, they still lack some perspective. With the Ten of Cups, Ten of Cups is great. So this is really... they feel like they're prepared for running into what it is that they're happy. So they don't exactly realize they're getting in the way of their own happiness or not going toward it. And it's because of this meandering. There's been a lot of lessons around the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Cups, the Ten of Cups in this experience for both of you. And with them, they have not been awake to a lot of it in the way that maybe you have been. I've definitely seen that. We've seen that. Here it goes, that Judgment card, feeling exactly like I was talking about just a moment ago, it's just, this is a very consistent thing. So there's a greater level of awareness with them, but it's still not great enough. They don't have the perspective that they need to be able to come and stay. They know how to be attracted to you, but they have so much fear that they have a tendency to reject the shift that's happening with them. But they're, because of the healing that they've done, they're starting to not be able to help but see the pieces in here that are kind of poisonous. I want to look in a little bit more deeply, maybe on that part, the Ace of Wands, the Sun in reverse, both of those. It's like the self-destructive behavior, the getting in the way of your own happiness. And then I want to see what's up with this Ten of Cups, because it seems like this is one that wants to blossom. So when we get into the extended, we're going to look into this and we're going to look into this. I think I'm going to take the card decks and switch them actually. But before we do, let's get into you. Let's look into where you need to be focused. Given what else is on the table, what else is happening here? That's kind of the question we always ask here. And as I was saying earlier, and this is about you making, like, not worrying about the small things as much. It's not worrying about the small things as much. I'm skipping a step, but it has to do with making decisions with less information, because you realize that a lot of that information is not necessarily going to be super germane to making that decision. Okay, what do we have? We got the Prince of Wands here in the reverse. We have the Eight of Wands in the upright. Okay, you get tested, which we know. Okay, you get tested with something that doesn't have the staying power. Okay, so Knight of Wands in reverse, Prince of Wands in reverse, same energy. You get this, here's somebody that's giving you this kind of half-hearted energy, like this meandering energy. It's not hateful. It just is undeveloped. It's that hanged man energy is the undeveloped energy, but you have a greater pace going on. So that's something for you to consider. And what I'm getting here is, don't hold back for anybody. Don't hold back on your pace of development. Don't hold back on the cool things that you're doing. Don't be self-destructive to yourself. Go ahead and open those doors. And while you're at it, so you have, a lot of you have been here for long enough to have heard me say the thing about, we're supposed to be leaving the door open. So the advice that we often get, we're getting it again. The advice that we often get is to leave that door open, but not watch to see if your person is walking through it. Okay, it's about releasing it. It's about not, it's this right here with the Wheel of Fortune, but having it in the reverse, and that finding comfort in the discomfort. This is, you don't have control over the situation, and it's okay. That Moon in the upright kind of feels like that too. Not worrying about the small things, and not getting hung up on things that you can't control either, because that's a big piece of that feeling. With the Prince of Wands, again, that feels like a test with some in and out behavior, and you get to decide how you want to handle it. Honestly, it looks to me like you're moving too fast to mess around with this right now. But with the Ace of Pentacles, it's saying take the time to smell the roses, but still leave that door open, and just don't be watching to see if they come through it. You've come a long way. You've come a long way with the Nine of Wands in the reverse. This is about resistance that you no longer feel toward healing energies. So that is, that's a wonderful barrier to see come down. These are walls coming down that honestly weren't really helping you. We have a double Eight of Wands. So there is really a sense of you on your way to something. Something is incomplete, inconclusive, and you are on it. This is the World in reverse. It's talking about things not being complete and something that you feel like you need to see through. It is not necessarily related to this person, but it could put you in the path of this person. That's what I'm kind of getting with that. There's something that you wish you had handled differently with regard to this situation that you now see more clearly because of this situation. It's like you're dealing with somebody with anxiety, and you now recognize that at some point in the past you dealt with somebody who had anxiety and didn't quite know how to handle it. And now you feel ashamed of that, or shameful. It's like, it's not that exactly necessarily, or it could be that. I mean, that is going to be what it is for somebody, which is why the examples that come up are real. They are just not everyone's example. They're something that just pops up. And I get these, I'll get 6 or 7 examples and be like, oh my gosh, get the big one. So the Three of Swords in the reverse. Well, this is about being able to use what you've learned. information that you've gotten from some of the lessons. Ooh, values. So remember, your person has been going through a realignment of values, and so have you. This is you recognizing where you are on that path. So you're not done yet, and you're chasing something down. But you're able to use what you've learned, which is a big departure from some of what we've seen, where your person has historically maybe grabbed some lessons, run with them, and then when they tried to put them into play, still felt pretty awkward and couldn't quite use them. But they have, I'm not saying they haven't come a long way. That's what's allowing them to kind of see things for what they are a little bit better, even when they're still making the self-destructive behaviors, which, like I said, we'll take a closer look at that here in a minute. Queen of Wands, this is actually a piece of advice, and it's telling you the same thing that we see come up quite often. Make sure you understand why you're doing what you're doing. And also pay attention to the thing there's something that's like bothering you, that when you wake up first thing in the morning, be looking for it, pay attention to it. That's going to be important, and it's going to signify some healing that needs to be done. It's not necessarily something that can be done overnight. It might be recovering from kind of a traumatic experience. And I don't necessarily mean this traumatic experience, but it could have been something else that has happened in the last couple years. Could have been anything after these last couple years. My goodness. But we'll just see what that is. Look for it. Keep maybe a pen or pencil and some paper next to the bed, so you don't have to turn on a phone to write down what it is. So we're going to get into this extended now. We're going to look into what it is that's happening that is kind of this self-destructive streak, and then also into this 10 of Cups that I said, feels like it wants to bloom. This is something that feels like it's too good to be true, and it's like, ooh, it wants to tell you, or there could be divine masculine messages behind this one. So we'll see what happens when we get in there. I look forward to seeing you there. Link is down below, or I will see you again in tomorrow's reading.